You're already in the game, right now. You didn't ask for it, but you're in it. While you've been living your life, someone's been making moves against you. Quiet moves, patient moves, smiling to your face while steering you exactly where they want you. If you can't see the board, you're not playing, you're being played. Most people, they're pawns, predictable, replaceable, forgotten the second they've served their purpose. They walk through life blind to the hands moving them. That ends for you today. From this moment on, you're going to notice things. The laugh that's just a little too loud, the deal that feels way too easy, the silence that lasts a second longer than it should. You won't chase anymore, you'll pull. You won't react, you'll dictate. Your words will hit without you ever raising your voice. And your moves, they'll land before anyone even knows the game has shifted. Understand this, power is never handed to you. You have to take it. And once you have it, you defend it at any cost like a fortress under siege. Because the second you relax, someone out there is sharpening a blade for you. Your first move starts now. Type, "I see the board" in the comments. That's not just a phrase, it's the signal that you've stepped out of the shadows and claimed your position as a player. In the next 11 parts, I'm going to give you the capabilities to win any situation. Piece by piece, you'll become unreadable, untouchable, and unstoppable. So like this video, subscribe to the channel, because from this point forward, every breath you If you can't control your mind, nothing else matters. You'll win a battle, then hand the enemy the keys to your city. Most people live as prisoners inside their own heads. They get triggered, baited, provoked. One word, one insult, one unexpected twist, and they're off balance. That's weakness, and weakness is exploited, always. You need an iron mind, unshakable, cold under pressure, untouchable when others try to get a reaction. Because the first to lose control loses the game. Think about the last time someone made you angry. Did you act or did you react? Be honest, because every time you react, you hand over power, and they know it. From now on, nothing gets an instant response from you. Not insults, not surprises, not pressure. You pause, you calculate, you strike only when it benefits you. That's how kings move. When you stop reacting, you'll watch people get uncomfortable. They'll start explaining themselves, overthinking, making mistakes, and you'll be sitting there, calm, silent, in control. An iron mind doesn't mean no emotion. It means emotion never controls you. You feel everything, but you choose what shows. And when they can't read you, they can't control you. Your challenge, for the next 24 hours, speak 50% less than you normally do. Say nothing unless it moves the game forward. You'll be shocked how much more powerful you feel. Type, "My mind is my fortress" in the comments. Let it be your commitment that no one gets inside your head without your permission. In the next part, we'll sharpen your perception until you can read people like open books and close yours whenever you want. Like, subscribe, control your mind, and you control the game. The difference between the hunter and the hunted is sight. Most people see with their eyes. The predator sees with their mind. They don't just look at what's in front of them, they read the hidden patterns beneath it, and those patterns always tell the truth. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must be both the lion and the fox, strong enough to strike, but cunning enough to see traps before they close. That sight is not a gift. It's trained, earned, sharpened until nothing escapes it. When you walk into a room, the first thing you should see is not the people, it's the power. Who holds it? Who wants it? Who's willing to bleed for it? Watch where eyes go. Watch who talks first. Watch who interrupts and who stays silent. That's your map of control. The predator's eye sees the truth behind the mask. The tapping foot under the table. The smile that doesn't touch the eyes. The handshake that's too quick to end. While others hear words, you hear motives. While others watch faces, you watch the micro movements they can't control. You must learn to profile instantly. Age, posture, tone, clothing, confidence. Every detail is a thread that leads to leverage. People don't just tell you who they are, they leak it. And once you see the leaks, you own them. But here's the darker truth. When you see too much, you stop being surprised. You stop being impressed. You stop being deceived. And that makes you dangerous, because nothing disarms a manipulator faster than knowing you've been watching them from the start. Practice this. For the next week, say less. Observe more. Write down every shift in someone's voice, every gesture, every inconsistency. You're not just collecting information, you're building their profile piece by piece until they're a book you've already finished reading. Type, "I see through everything" in the comments. Let it be your declaration that from now on, no move escapes your vision. In the next part, I'll show you how to weaponize that vision, how to feed people exactly what they want to see while leading them exactly where you want them to go. That's when the game stops being fair and starts being yours. Sometimes the most dangerous weapon in the room is the one that looks harmless. Machiavelli understood this. He wrote that a ruler must be feared in such a way that he is still loved. Why? Because when people feel safe around you, they never see the blade until it's too late. The velvet knife is charm with an edge. It's the ability to disarm people completely while positioning yourself exactly where you need to strike. You smile, you listen, you agree. And in the process, you lower every wall they have. Most think control is loud. It's not. Control is quiet. It's in the way you make someone feel understood, even while you're studying them like prey. It's in the way you let them believe they're leading when every step they take is exactly where you want them to go. The velvet knife uses warmth to invite, curiosity to engage, and empathy to extract information others would guard with their lives. And all the while, you keep your real thoughts locked behind the mask. Here's the key. When people like you, they talk more. When they feel safe, they reveal more. And every piece they reveal is another inch of the blade sliding in. By the time they realize it, the game is already over. But this is not about cruelty. This is about precision. The velvet knife is not reckless. It's calculated. Every compliment, every laugh, every pause, it's placed like a chess piece. Because charm without strategy is just noise, but charm with a plan, that's conquest. I want you to practice this starting today. The next time you meet someone, make them feel like the only person in the room. Look at them like they matter. Listen like you care. But in your mind, track every word they say for opportunities. Because in the right hands, information is more lethal than any weapon. Type, "My smile is my weapon" in the comments. That's your signal to the world that you've learned how to carry a blade no one can see. In the next part, I'll teach you how to turn that blade into a net, how to make people depend on you so deeply that walking away stops being an option. That's when you don't just win the game, you own the board. Like, subscribe. Because once you master the velvet knife, there's no safer place for your enemy than right next to you. Control doesn't last unless they need you. Machiavelli knew this. He warned that alliances built on loyalty alone will crumble. But if their survival, their comfort, their success depends on you, they'll hold on even when they hate you. The web of dependency is simple. Make yourself the one thing they can't afford to lose. That could be information, protection, resources, connections, or even the way you make them feel. It doesn't matter what it is, only that without you, their world gets smaller. Most people think influence comes from being liked. That's amateur thinking. True influence comes from being necessary. When you're necessary, they forgive your mistakes. They overlook your flaws. They even defend you when you're not in the room. You don't ask for loyalty, you engineer it. Give them just enough to make progress, but never enough to operate without you. Introduce them to opportunities that go through you. Solve problems they can't solve themselves. Become the bridge they have to cross to get what they want. And here's the Machiavellian truth. When people depend on you, they stop thinking about replacing you. The cost is too high. Even your enemies will think twice before moving against you, because harming you means harming themselves. But this is not about chains, it's about threads. Pull too hard, and they'll resist. Too obvious, and they'll see it. Build it quietly, make it feel natural. Until one day, they wake up and realize every road they take still passes through you. Here's your move. Identify one person in your world and figure out what they value most. Not what they say they value, what they actually value. Then become the most reliable source of it. Watch how fast their tone changes. Type, "They can't move without me" in the comments. That's your declaration that you're done chasing loyalty. You're building it into the structure of the game. In the next part, I'll teach you how to reverse this. How to cut every string someone else has tied to you, so no one ever holds the same power over you. That's how you become truly untouchable. Like, subscribe, because once you weave the web of dependency, they don't escape, they orbit. Before you can control others, you have to make sure no one controls you. Machiavelli warned that the man who depends on others for his power has no power at all. And that's the trap most people live in without ever noticing. Invisible strings, tied to people they trust, tied to people they fear, tied to people they think they need. Those strings are leverage against you, and anyone who holds them owns you. Severing the strings is the art of cutting every point of control another person has over your choices, your resources, or your future. This isn't just about independence, it's about immunity. Start with money. If someone controls your income, they control your life. Diversify it. Build a source they can't touch. Then look at information. If someone knows things about you that could damage you, reduce that risk. Starve them of updates, change the story, create new truths to replace the old ones. Then look at emotions. Who can trigger you? Who can throw you off balance with a word, a look, or a silence? That's a string. Learn to feel it without reacting. Once they can't provoke you, that string is cut. The more strings you sever, the more untouchable you become. And when people realize they can't hold anything over you, they either respect you or fear you. Both work, but here's the key. Do it quietly. Don't announce it. Don't make a scene. Just start removing points of control until one day they pull and nothing moves. Your challenge? List the top 3 people or systems you rely on most. Then ask yourself, if they vanished tomorrow, could you still operate at full strength? If the answer is no, you have strings to cut. Type, "No one holds me" in the comments. That's your statement to the world and to yourself that you refuse to be a puppet in anyone's hands. In the next part, I'll show you how to flip the entire equation, how to make people tie their own strings to you willingly so you can pull them whenever you want. That's not just influence, that's domination. Some people pull strings, others build them. The smartest players make people tie their own. Machiavelli wrote that the wise ruler makes others dependent on his favor, so they cannot stand without him. This is how you stop chasing control and start having it handed to you. The puppet master's touch isn't force, it's seduction. You don't grab the strings, you make people offer them. You position yourself as the source of something they crave. Status, opportunity, protection, belonging, and you give them just enough to keep them coming back. Here's the psychology. People value what they invest in. The more they commit to you, time, effort, trust, the harder it becomes for them to walk away. That's not by accident. That's engineering. You do it by creating situations where they need you to win. Let them take credit for moves you quietly set up. Make them feel stronger when they're in your orbit. Solve a problem they couldn't solve without you. Then remind them without words that you can do it again. Soon, they'll adjust their decisions to keep you close. They'll filter their risks through your approval. They'll measure their wins by your reaction. And every time they do, the string gets tighter. But here's the beauty. They'll believe it was their choice. That's the Machiavellian touch. You never show the control. You let them feel free, while you're the one writing the script. Your move: pick one person with influence in your world. Find out what they value most, not what they say, but what drives their actions. Then, position yourself as the one who can deliver it. Do it once, do it twice, and you'll never have to ask for their loyalty. They'll chain themselves to you. Type, "They move when I pull" in the comments. That's your signal that you're done chasing influence. You're building it into the structure of their decisions. In the next part, I'll show you how to protect this power from exposure, how to cloak your influence so well that even if they suspect you, they can't prove a thing. That's how you stay untouchable while pulling every string. Power is most dangerous when no one can see where it's coming from. Machiavelli warned that a wise ruler should never reveal the true extent of his power, because once people see it, they start looking for ways to break it. The invisible hand is how you operate without leaving fingerprints. This is control in its purest form, where moves happen, outcomes shift, and no one traces it back to you. They think it was their idea, their decision, their victory. But the truth: you were behind it the whole time. The key is in direction. Never push directly. Guide, suggest, plant seeds in conversations and let time do the rest. The more they believe they acted freely, the less they resist your influence. You'll speak in questions, not commands. What if we tried this? Have you considered? Let them say it out loud. Let them feel ownership. People fight against orders. They defend their own ideas, and you don't take credit, ever. Credit makes you visible. Visibility makes you a target. Instead, position yourself as the quiet advisor, the one who helps without demanding recognition. That way, you keep your seat at the table forever. Here's the beauty. When you're the invisible hand, your enemies don't know who to attack. They'll waste energy fighting the wrong battles, chasing the wrong targets, while you move untouched. And the more chaos they create trying to find you, the stronger your position becomes. Your move, in the next week, influence one decision without anyone knowing it was you. Change the outcome, but stay in the shadows. If they think it just happened, you did it right. Type, "I move unseen" in the comments. That's your declaration that from this point forward, you control outcomes without exposing yourself. In the next part, I'll take you into the art of controlled deception. How to feed people truths and lies in the perfect ratio so they trust you completely, even as you lead them exactly where you want. People trust themselves more than they trust you. That's the flaw you'll exploit. Machiavelli knew that men are easily deceived when they believe they are not being deceived at all. And the mirror of deception is exactly that, showing people their own reflection so they mistake your control for their choice. Here's how it works. When you mirror someone, you reflect their values, their fears, their desires back at them. You adopt their language, you match their rhythm, you make them feel like you get them in a way no one else does. And when people feel understood, they stop questioning your motives. They open up, they tell you more than they should. And every word they give you is ammunition. But this is deeper than just copying someone. This is psychological alignment. You don't just act like them, you make them see themselves in you. You become familiar, comfortable, safe. And once they're comfortable, you can lead them anywhere. The mirror of deception lets you feed them information in perfect doses, truths to earn trust, lies to shape their reality. And here's the key: the lies are never pure fiction. They're blended with just enough truth to feel undeniable. They'll believe it because it matches the version of the world they already want to believe. And when belief and desire meet, logic disappears. That's when you own them. But remember, this is not about chaos for its own sake. This is about direction. You're not tricking them to amuse yourself. You're guiding them toward the outcome you've chosen. Quietly, invisibly, inevitably. Your move: pick someone you need influence over. Spend one conversation doing nothing but mirroring, tone, posture, pacing, and keywords. Watch how quickly their guard drops. Type, They trust the mirror in the comments. That's your statement that you've learned how to make people follow you without realizing they're being led. In the next part, I'll teach you how to combine everything, how to create deterrence so strong that no one dares to challenge you in the first place. That's when you move from playing the game to owning the board. Like, subscribe. Because once you master the mirror of deception, they won't just trust you, they'll trust the version of themselves you hand them. The most dangerous power is the one no one dares to test. Machiavelli warned that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both, and fear, when built correctly, is the strongest shield you will ever have. The fortress effect is about creating such a strong presence, such an untouchable image, that people think twice before even considering moving against you. A fortress isn't just walls, it's the perception of walls. It's the idea that attacking you will cost more than anyone is willing to pay. That perception must be cultivated, carefully, deliberately. You build it by controlling three things: what they see, what they hear, and what they believe about you. First, your boundaries. They are absolute. You enforce them instantly, every time. The moment you let one slide, the cracks begin. Second, your reputation. Don't waste time defending it to everyone. Instead, make strategic examples out of anyone who tries to undermine it. Quietly or publicly, the message must be clear. Crossing you has consequences. Third, your mystery. Never let anyone think they know your full strength. A fortress they've mapped is a fortress they can breach. Keep some of your capabilities hidden, enough to make them wonder what would happen if they pushed too far. The beauty of the fortress effect is that you rarely need to fight. People will self-regulate around you. They'll avoid certain topics, they'll choose their words, they'll even police others on your behalf, because they fear being the one to trigger your attention. Your move. Over the next week, remove any behavior that signals weakness, over-explaining, apologizing unnecessarily, or tolerating disrespect. Watch how quickly the energy changes around you. Type, "My walls are unbreakable," in the comments. That's your public declaration that you are no longer open ground. You are fortified. In the next part, I'll show you how to turn that fortress into an empire. How to expand your influence outward without ever leaving yourself exposed. That's when you stop defending power and start spreading it. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Because once you master the fortress effect, most battles will end before they ever begin. Power that stands still dies. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler who is not expanding is inviting his enemies to grow stronger. In the game of power, you're either advancing or you're being surrounded. The expansion principle is how you push your influence outward while staying untouchable. It's not reckless conquest, it's controlled growth. You take ground strategically in ways that make it impossible for anyone to take it back. The key is leverage first, territory second. Don't rush to occupy a space until you already control the resources, alliances, or narrative inside it. That way, by the time you step in, resistance has already collapsed. You expand through proxies, people, systems, and opportunities that move in your name. This keeps your core protected while your reach grows. You don't need to be in every battle personally, you just need to be the reason the battle was won. And here's the part most miss. Expansion is as much psychological as it is physical. When people believe your influence is spreading, they'll start treating you as if it already has. Perception speeds reality. That's why you make your wins visible enough to inspire respect, but not so exposed that they make you a target. As your territory grows, whether that's your network, your money flow, or your control over key decisions, your fortress becomes the capital of an empire, and the larger your empire, the fewer people will dare to challenge its center. Your move: identify one area, social, financial, strategic, where your reach is weak. Spend the next month building influence in that space before you ever step in directly. When you arrive, it will already be yours. Type, "My reach has no limit" in the comments. That's your signal that you've stopped thinking like a survivor and started thinking like a ruler. In the next part, I'll show you the final capability, the one that turns your empire into something permanent. This is where you become truly untouchable, not just feared, not just respected, but a force that no one can imagine the game without. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications, because once you master the expansion principle, your name won't just be on the board, it will be the board. Every empire has one law that holds it together, the rule that no one dares to break. Without it, power collapses. With it, you become permanent. Machiavelli understood this. He wrote that power lasts only when it's built into the structure of the state itself. In other words, your influence must become the law, even if your name is never on it. The untouchable law is simple. Make your removal cost more than your existence. This is how you do it. Embed yourself so deeply into the systems, alliances, and flows of value that cutting you out breaks the entire machine. Make yourself the bridge between rival factions, the key holder to essential resources, the person whose absence would create chaos nobody wants to clean up. And here's the real Machiavellian twist. You don't just make yourself useful, you make yourself necessary. Useful people can be replaced, necessary people can't. You'll engineer it so that your enemies gain nothing from removing you and may even need to protect you to protect themselves. That's the moment you stop being a target and become a pillar. To get there, you blend visibility and invisibility. Visible enough that everyone knows your value, invisible enough that they don't know all the ways you provide it. That hidden half is your insurance, because they can't replace what they can't fully understand. Your move. Look at every position of influence you hold. Ask yourself, if I disappeared tomorrow, would things keep running? If the answer is yes, you're replaceable. Start building choke points only you can open. Type, "I am the law" in the comments. That's your declaration that you're no longer just playing for power, you're building it into the foundation. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications, because once you master the untouchable law, the game stops being able to run without you. You've made it, 11 capabilities, and now, you're not the same person who pressed play on part 1. Back then, you were on the board. Now, you are the board. You've built the iron mind. You've opened the predator's eye. You've learned to wield the velvet knife, weave the web of dependency, sever the strings, pull them as the puppet master, move as the invisible hand, mirror with precision, build the fortress effect, and expand without limit. That's not luck. That's engineering. That's strategy. That's power. Machiavelli would tell you this. Power is not a state. It's a motion. It must be maintained, adapted, and sharpened, or it will fade. The moment you think you've won, you've already started losing. The final capability is this. Sustain the fear, sustain the respect. Keep the mystique alive. Continue feeding the legend of who you are. Never give them the full map. Never let them think they've figured you out. You are no longer just a player in the game. You are the force shaping it, and forces like that become part of the structure. Remove them, and the whole thing falls apart. That is your ultimate protection. But understand, this is not the end, this is the threshold, because the next game is bigger. The next series will take you beyond dominance over people, into dominance over systems, influence so deep it's baked into the foundation, power so subtle it moves generations, and when that series drops, you won't just be learning tactics, you'll be learning how to rewrite the rules. Your move, type "I am the board" in the comments. That's your public claim that you've stepped into a new identity and you're not stepping back. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications, because the next time we speak, we're not just going to play the game. We're going to own the world it's played in.